Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Shari Laverde, and in this video we're going to talk about the 3 saving tips that I use to save $6,000 in 90 days. Yes, you heard that right. I saved $6,000 in 90 days. You guys, I am still in disbelief and impressed by the amount of money that I was able to save in that short amount of time. Again, this is about the tips that I personally use, but I believe you can also use and you can implement to do the same thing, whatever that budget is for you. Whether you want to save $500, $1,000, $2,000, whatever that looks like for you, just by using these tips, you should be able to save money. So let's jump right in onto the tips and see how I did that. Number 1, budgeting. Yes. Budgeting. Might sound silly. It's like, oh, I knew that, Shari. Well, even though I budget, maybe I don't quite budget the way that I should, and I was still overspending. So let me go back a little bit and talk about how my husband and I have created this, what we call expense sheet. Yes, he's all about that. I'm not that kind of person, but he has helped me a lot in that sense, where we literally have an expense sheet that we use. It's like an Excel sheet where we wrote down every single expense that we have a month. And that includes your food, gas to go to work, your mortgage, your bills. It's pretty much a sheet that will tell you where your money is going. Yes, we get paid and we have to pay bills, and I have everything set automatically and the money is just going out, but sometimes I was losing track as to exactly where the money was going. So with the expense sheet, I know every month, if I get paid twice a month, I know where my checks are going, what I'm paying, what bills are coming out, and all that stuff. What was happening is we also had created a budget for ourselves. Let me tell you, we are working parents. We work very hard for our money. And like many of us watching this video right now, you're like, I work really hard. I want to spend money on myself. I need to reward myself. I'm the same way. I do the same thing, and I do it because I think I deserve it. But what I realized when I started budgeting is that I was looking at where my money was going for necessary things that we were paying, and then the amount of money that was going out for rewarding myself. It was definitely more than the budget that I had set for myself. We have a weekly budget, individual budgets, my husband and I, that we use in order to have that little extra cushion of money to buy things that we want, whether that's a coffee in the morning, whether that is going out for lunch with my coworkers or going to dinners. And what was happening is that I was not really sticking to that budget. I was kind of going over the budget. And I realized, you guys, let me tell you, and this is maybe one of the reasons why I also was able to save that amount of money, was because during pandemic, I was sent to work from home. So I'm not longer, driving to work. And what is happening when I wasn't driving to work? Well, I wasn't spending my allowance money for lunches with my coworkers. So I was kind of saving that money. Let me tell you, I would spend at least $15 a day on lunches, at least $10 a day on coffees. And that's if I only went once to buy coffee in the mornings. If I went twice, I was spending another $20. So the money starts adding up. So I'm working from home. Now I'm kind of saving all my money that I have budgeted out, right, for myself. I'm no longer doing these extra expenses to reward myself. So that money is just kind of sitting there and staying there, right? What do we do next? Tip number 2, really fast. I'm sorry if I look down, but I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to miss any of these tips, because let me tell you, they are important. So we talked about budgeting and what that looks like. So that can be setting aside exact money that you need to pay your expenses, right? And if that includes a little money for yourself, that's great. But keep it to that money. Cutting extra expenses, all unnecessary expenses. We have basic needs. We need food. We need gas to go to work if you're going to work or drive around to do your things. We need to pay our rent or our mortgages, whatever that is. But after you pay those bills that are important and necessary, your light, your water, whatever that is, whatever that looks like to you, then we have other expenses that we're doing that, in a way, if you look back, sit and look and see what that is for you. But for us, was things that I didn't need anymore, such as, I'm gonna say right away, I had a bunch of subscriptions. I wanted makeup subscription, I wanted jewelry, I wanted this. clothes, all these kinds of subscriptions that I thought was making my life easier, which in a way it was. I was spending less money on makeup. I wasn't going shopping because, ladies, we know if we go to a makeup store, we end up coming out with $300 worth of makeup every time we go shopping. But with these subscriptions, I was saving a lot of money and it was great. But there comes a time where I have too much makeup. I don't need extra mascaras, extra eyeshadows, extra lipsticks. Like, I have plenty and enough. So it was time to cut down. So I went and looked at all the subscriptions that I had that I no longer needed. When I canceled all of those, we were looking at over $100 worth of subscriptions that I had. Money extra for me that goes straight into my savings. I was saving money, not going out for the lunches, not going out for extra dinner dates. Again, you guys, during these last 90 days, we were still in pandemic. We're not going out as much. We're not going to dinners with our friends, husbands. We're not going to lunches with our coworkers because I'm working from home. So where I get lunch from? My pantry, my sandwiches, whatever it is. So I was already, that extra spending money that I usually set aside was just staying behind, right? I didn't have the need to spend it. So that was one way for me to cut expenses and extra things. Like, I like buying new clothes, new shoes. I am at my current job in a management position where I also like to dress up and be presentable, and I don't want to be using the same clothes all the time. Let me go back for a little bit. If you have a personality like me where you just love to shop, and if we're women and we like new clothes and new shoes, when we go shopping, we don't go shopping for one pair of shoes. We do 3 at a time. It was because maybe it was on sale, buy one, get one 50% off, whatever the reason was. We don't have limits. I know I don't have limits when it comes to shopping. So, I'm always looking for new shoes and clothes and things that I can wear for work. Well, at this time, I didn't have need for that. So I started looking at all the money that I spend, buying clothes and shoes, and I stopped doing that. I have not shopped for some time now. Also, too, I'm a person that loves getting her nails and manicures and things like that. If you can see right now, I don't have nails. And you know what? In a way, pandemic has helped because, unfortunately, these places or the place that I go to is closed. I cannot wait for them to open so I can start doing my nails. But, I go every 2 weeks and I spend probably $100 every time I go. I want a nice pedicure because what? I deserve it, right? It's my reward to myself, going to pedicures and doing my nails for work and all that stuff. And, at the moment in those 90 days, I was not, doing that. So this is extra expenses and money that I had set to the side that, I was not spending. So instead it was going to the savings. Now, tip number three, yes. Opening a savings account. Yes, it sounds silly. And you're like, Shari, that should have been tip number 1 because, in order to save, you need a savings account. Well, if you have a savings account, but you're not committed or you're not automatically on a monthly basis putting money in there to save, it's just sitting there and you're not saving money, right? So what I did is I opened a savings account that I was committed to saving, but this is what I did. I did things a little bit backwards. I went ahead and set my direct deposits from work, my paychecks that I get, right, to go into my savings. And then from there, what I did is I will go to my budget, my spreadsheet that I have, check all the money that I needed a month. Exactly. I will calculate exactly how much money I needed a month to transfer to my checkings so that all my bills can be automatically paid, and whatever I didn't need will stay in my savings. So did you hear that right? Let me explain again. My checks go to my savings account, which I go in there, take out exactly the amount of money that I need to spend and put it in the check-ins, let all the bills get paid automatically. That includes the budget that I'm putting for myself for extra spending a week if I need to or I have to. And that's exactly that money that goes into the check-ins. And after that, everything that it's in the savings stays there. You will be impressed and amazed of how much money it's being left behind. Let's go back to the list that I mentioned. The money and budgets that I had for going out to lunches, buying dinners, What I mean by buying dinners, you know, two working parents, we're tired, we go to work, we come back, we're spending an hour in traffic. I come home, the last thing I want is to cook, but I have a family to feed, so we go and we buy dinners. That's how we feed each other, and we're doing that more often than not. So we stopped doing that completely. We're not, you know, spending all kinds of money on dinners. We're budgeting money for what we need. So if I need food for the house, which we need, I would take out exact amount of money that I need to buy groceries for the whole entire week and cook every night, which I've been doing. So, you know, it's important that I talk about these 3 tips. Yes, because we can budget, we can, you know, set a timeline, do a challenge for yourself. You're gonna say, in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I wanna save this much, and this is what I'm gonna do. And implement those tips. Go in how you're gonna budget, how you're gonna cut extra expenses for things that you don't need, and if there's a possibility to open a checkings, or if you have one, that you start putting money in the checkings, and then see, you know, how much money it's being left. You will be impressed. So, you know, in my case, you know, I was impressed with all the money that I was spending. And you know what? To be honest, I'm at a point right now where I just literally learned a new skill and just how to budget myself and how to not spend all this additional extra money. Yeah, it's part of my personality. I like spending. I have no limits. I have no budgets. But after seeing how much money I was saving, I was very impressed to see, wow, you know, where my money was going. And for me, moving forward, you know, am I gonna spend the same way that I used to? I'm not. I created this kind of little challenge for myself that I wanted to save money because I needed money for investing in a business that I'm doing. You know, that was my end goal, my end determination. And seeing how much money I was saving from cutting all these expenses, I was just in disbelief and impressed with myself. And again, this can look like different for everybody, but have a goal in mind why you want to save money. And that can be, you know, for anything, for getting a new house, putting a down payment, opening a business. In my case, it was opening a business, for going on a vacation. There's just so many reasons why we want to save money, but for me primarily was to invest in a business. And also too, I was kind of scared when pandemic hit because I wasn't sure if we were gonna have, you know, our jobs at the end of the day or not. And you know, we did have a little bit of savings as a couple, my husband and I, but I wanted to have an additional extra money, you know, just saved up. And I really applied those tips and it helped me tremendously. So with that being said, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you can see how we can implement these things in order for us to save money, in order for us to learn a new skill like I did. I just, moving forward, going to be very cautious with how I'm spending my money. Not to say that I'm not going to reward myself. I will, but you know, in a friendly budget, because I do want to continue to save money. I have so many ideas and things that I want to do, especially in investing in this new business. So, you know, those tips worked for me. I hope they work for you too. If you feel like this video was helpful, or you know somebody that this video it's gonna, you know, help them be determined in saving money, and share those tips with them, please by all means share this video. And I hope it helps you the same way that it helped me. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any other comments or anything that you want to put below, by all means, right down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much, and I hope this video was helpful to you.